Hi, good morning, and thank you for joining me for my chat with the Military Provost Guard Service, better known as the MPGS. I'm delighted to welcome my guests this morning, Staff Sergeant Mick Sanders and Corporal Dean Vickery from the MPGS. A very warm welcome to you both.
Good morning, Karen. Thank you for having us.
Fantastic. So, Mick, let's just get started. For anybody that doesn't know, can you give us a brief outline of what the responsibilities of the MPGS are? So, what's it all about?
So, of course, the Military Provost Guard Service, we provide professional soldiers to meet armed security requirements at Royal Navy, Army, RAF and other MOD bases in Great Britain. A primary role is to counter the terrorist threat posed to military bases in Great Britain.
Oh, fantastic. So, in more detail, what sort of duties would this include?
So, duties, this includes, we do security incident management, such as dealing with suspicious packages, bomb threats and protests, etc. We manage control room operations, ensuring that all visitors are dealt with efficiently. We patrol the site perimeters, take necessary action to preserve that perimeter security, and primarily controlling entry and exit onto that establishment.
Fantastic. So it's quite, it's a broad range of duties, but I know that there'll be some people out there, there's some individuals who are really keen to work with military dogs. Do you have dog patrols on any of your site? That's something you might offer?
Yes, of course we do. We have 4 sites across the UK. They employ military working dogs, being Wittering, Yeovilton, Shrivenham and Watt, and vacancies at these sites come up quite regularly.
Oh, fantastic. And so on that note, how many actual locations do the MPGS currently operate in?
So we've got sites at the moment across the UK, mainland Great Britain. We serve on a military local service engagement contract, which allows soldiers to choose where they wish to serve, providing there is a vacancy at that location. And just on this, in the next 24 months, we've got approximately another 30 sites coming online by April 2023, which is great news for the Corps.
Wow. So, there's lots of locations for any of our service leavers and veterans who want to, join the MPGS to choose from. So one of the main attractions that I get here about the MPGS is the fact that, you can almost stay in the Army, but without the deployment. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct, Karen. So unlike the rest of the armed forces, you serve at the unit of your choice, and that movement is restricted to a 30-mile radius of that unit. You can opt to serve at this unit for the duration of your MPGS career or choose to move locations. You may, for example, for a maximum of 30 days a year, serve outside of that 30-mile radius. But this is mainly for training and personal development courses. But occasionally, it may be to provide temporary cover at another site.
Great, fantastic. And can you tell me, obviously, the one question we always get asked is, what about the pay structures? What can somebody expect to earn if they join the MPGS?
So MPGS soldiers receive rates of pay in accordance with the JSP 754 and Service Personnel Policy Directed pay letters. So all ex-service personnel on re-enlistment to the MPGS will be granted a minimum 3 years of undated seniority, and that allows them to enter on the new employment model of OR24, which is £21,082 annually gross.
That's fantastic.
And the routine on that, and that's the soldiers will work 4 on 4 off on a rotational system that cycles through days and nights.
Oh, fantastic. So, and what about the leave structure within that as well?
Yeah, so MPGS soldiers are entitled to 38 days leave as per any of the regular armed services.
Oh, fantastic. So hang on a minute, let me just work that one out. So the 4 on 4 off and the 38 day. So basically you're working half a year.
Exactly, yep.
No wonder you guys look so happy out there. Excellent. And what about the pension rights? Because obviously that's always, again, another subject people are really keen to hear about. What are their pension rights?
So if full service, they can still draw their full service pension, although it may be abated. So when they join the MPGS, they will accrue more pension to claim later on in life. But in order to make sure that they don't get penalised in any way, we advise to seek professional advice from the DBS or the Pension Society.
Fantastic. So, as a person of more senior years, if I wanted to sign up to the MPGS today, is there a maximum age limit that I would have to, within that? And also, what is the sort of time commitment that I would have to make, minimum time commitment I'd have to make?
So firstly, in answer to your question there, Karen, you'll enlist onto the Army on a military local service engagement, or quite simply the MLSE contract, as we call it. This provides you with a 3-year renewable contract by mutual agreement up to the age of 60 years old. Your only commitment is to serve for 1 year after you initially sign up, after which you may give 90 days notice to discharge. So an essential competencies are that you must be over 18 and under the age of 57 years at enlistment. You must have also served for at least 3 years on the previous engagements in the Army, all services, including the reserves. The gap leaving service, you should have less than 6 years gap for all ranks and up to 10-year gap for those who previously held the rank of substantive corporal or above from your previous service and enlistment. And you must be medically fit, but we do take service rejoiners on a minimum employment standard of MLDP. So that's one of the biggest questions. Can I join if I'm downgraded from fully fit? And yes, you can.
Oh, that's great. And I've learned something today, because I didn't realise that obviously reservists were eligible for this. So that's something else that's excellent that I've learned from today. So I can scrape into this age category, which is great. So if I decide to join, how much notice would I need to give if I changed my mind or I found it wasn't for me once I'd started?
So as Mick's already alluded to, then you need to complete 12-month service. But what this means is at your 9-month point, you can give your 90 days notice to take you up to that 12 months. So literally you only have to serve 9 months. Then you can put your notice in and you'll leave just short of your 12-month period.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. Okay. And okay, so I'm nearly signed up with you both, but tell me, what sort of other perks can I look forward to? Housing is always, when service leavers are leaving service, obviously when they've been in army accommodation, suddenly they're faced with the prospects of having to find housing. Would there be any housing options within this?
Yes, of course. So MPGS soldiers are entitled to the same housing provisions, should we say, as any other regular soldier. So if you're married or in a long-term relationship, you're entitled to SFA at your location, or even single soldier accommodation.
Okay, great, excellent. Now, at my age now, I might be a little bit rusty. So, would you be offering to retrain me?
Yes, Karen, of course. So all MPGS soldiers are trained at the Defence School of Policing and Guarding at Southwark Park down in Fareham. So the Defence Guarding Specialist course lasts for 5 days, and it's designed to provide you with the knowledge and understanding required of a professional armed security guard. The course takes account of your previous experience as well and your service history. So it does not replicate any areas of Phase 1 basic training, such as foot drills, room inspections, armed parades, etc. Some of the subjects that you will cover down there is things like powers of arrest, powers of search, use of force, patrolling techniques, incident handling. We'll also cover control room training, instruction of using notebooks, the daily occurrence books, the maintenance of security registers and processing telephone calls, and also accounting for security equipment. So all new MPGS joiners will also undergo unit level training before they go to the Defence School of Policing as well, which will include weapon handling, marksmanship, including live firing, and judgmental assessment training.
Oh, that's great. So, it's basically a completely sort of rebrief of what I might have forgotten. So excellent. And let's get to some a little bit tricky questions here. So let's say I left the military due to failing a CDT, compulsory drug test, or I have a spent conviction. Will I still be able to apply to join the MPGS?
Yes, of course. As long as that conviction is spent and you've served the period required, then of course you can apply, as long as you agree to certain limitations, i.e. for CDT, there's a 5-year testing screening policy which would be put in place. As long as you agree to this, then yes, you can apply. The final decision will come from APC Glasgow. And so, go ahead and apply.
Okay, fantastic. And I noticed as well that I've got to have less than 8 penalty points on my driving licence. Now, let's just say today I lost my driving licence for 6 months for cumulatively hitting the speed camera, for instance. So could I still apply now so that I could join once I get my license back in 6 months' time?
Yes, of course. Yeah, you can apply, and what we could do is we could defer your start date until after your driving license, come back to you. And like you said, as long as you've got less than 8, then yeah, you're more than welcome to apply.
That's amazing. So, technically there are no barriers to people applying to you, and, people should really consider that when they're, because a lot of people might be a little bit nervous and, lost their license for time and feel that that's a barrier. Don't let that be a barrier for anybody that's listening. So obviously, fantastic, lots of detail there. Where can I see all of the latest vacancies? How do I find out about the locations and where those jobs are available?
But the best thing, guys, is to join our Facebook recruitment group. So there's a link on the screen now, MPGS recruitment. Okay, we post the vacancies and jobs on there every Friday when they're passed down to us from Glasgow itself.
Fantastic. So, and what is the process? So if I, in terms of the length of time to join, if I decided I wanted to sign up today, how long is that process before I actually would be in post?
So on that one, Karen, each applicant process time varies dependent on what process they are used and, of course, their own personal circumstances. So, for example, a transfer, if they're coming from the regular forces, it's no longer than 8 weeks on receipt of that application from APC, subject to unit approval. Rejoiners, fast-track application where there's no face-to-face medical required is approximately 1 month. A standard rejoin outside of the fast-track criteria, where a face-to-face medical is required, application time can approximately be about 4 months. But please note, then timings are approximate timelines, certainly during COVID restrictions. So that's the process for that, Karen.
Fantastic. And before we take any questions in case anybody else has anything to add, I'm a very keen sports enthusiast. I like to take part in sports. When being in the military, you get an opportunity to take part in those sports. Are there any opportunities with when you were with the MPGS to actually continue and take part in those in any sort of military sports?
Absolutely, yes. When I was a platoon commander at a platoon, one of my soldiers played basketball for the AGC Corps and indeed the Army. So we welcome people to take part in sports, and we will fully support that. Fantastic.
And is there any negatives, do you think, in your experience in the MPGS? Is there anything that you'd say you should really consider before you apply?
For me personally, no. I've had a fantastic running MPGS. I've done some great things, and I've really enjoyed it thus far.
And from you, Dean, the same?
No negatives for me, Karen. More positives. Work balance since I joined the MPGS has been absolutely phenomenal. Got time outside of work to do what I want to do. I've got my military career and also courses and progression within that. So yeah, I've got the best worlds.
That's fantastic. And as you know, we've been doing lots of events and things, and the MPGS is very popular at the moment. And I know you guys are very keen to talk to anybody that would like to join. So I encourage anybody from today that has listened and thought, oh gosh, I didn't realise that included me, to get in contact. So I don't have any more questions for you. Have you any questions for me today, guys?
No, just thank you for having us, Karen, and allow us to appear on this programme.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Well, everybody can still also look at the CTP and the RFEA websites, where we upload the vacancies from the MPGS, and also to the MPGS Facebook page. Thank you very much to Staff Sergeant Mick Sanders and Corporal Dean Vickery for joining me today. If you're interested in the MPGS, please do get in touch. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Karen.